Okay, let's get right into it and solve one of the most common and, let's be honest, one of the most frustrating mysteries of modern life, the slow texter. I mean, you know that feeling, right? You send a text, you can see it's been delivered, and then crickets. It's this tiny little digital drama that plays out in our pockets, on our screens, every single day. And yep, we have all been there. This isn't some rare thing. It's a totally universal part of being connected these days. So let's start by walking through a few classic scenarios you'll probably recognize. I mean, come on. Whether it's the friend who takes a full 24 hours to reply to a simple lunch invite, or that colleague who you can literally see is online posting memes, but your work message is just sitting there, unread. It's confusing, and honestly, it can feel a little disrespectful. And that's really the heart of the mystery, isn't it? We have all this amazing tech for instant communication, so when somebody chooses not to use it that way, it feels like a conscious choice, a statement. But what's really behind it? Well, it usually comes down to one of two very, very different kinds of people. So first up, let's meet the time protector. Now, what's so interesting here is how this immediately reframes the whole situation. This isn't about being rude to you, it's about being defensive for themselves. They're all about setting boundaries. For a time protector, every single notification, every ping, every buzz is a potential attack on their focus. It's another demand on their attention. So, to get anything meaningful done, they have to consciously decide when and how they engage. This is such a great way to picture it. A bouncer isn't personally rejecting you at the door. They're just enforcing the rules to keep the club from turning into total chaos. The time protector does the exact same thing with their phone. They check messages when they're ready to maintain order in their own head. This is basically their mantra. They've made a choice to be the boss of their technology, not the other way around. But that's only one side of the coin. Let's look at a completely different reason for the exact same behavior. So on the flip side, we have the anxious avoider. Now for this person, a new text message doesn't feel like a simple hello. It feels like a spotlight just snapped on and they've been pushed onto a stage they weren't ready for. They feel this incredible pressure to say just the right thing, with the perfect tone, using the exact right emoji. That pressure can be absolutely paralyzing. So what do? They put it off. Delaying the reply becomes their way of coping with all that anxiety. And here's the crucial difference. While the time protector is delaying to manage their time, the anxious avoider is delaying to manage their feelings. That slow reply is basically a shield against the stress of the conversation itself. Putting them side by side makes it so clear. The action on the surface, a slow text, is identical. But the reason for it couldn't be more different. One person is motivated by preserving their focus, while the other is all about protecting themselves from feeling anxious. So you might be wondering, why does this feel like such a new, modern problem? Well, it's because the digital world we've built is basically the perfect storm for both of these behaviors to thrive. First off, there's just the sheer volume of everything. We're not just getting a few messages, we're getting an avalanche of them. Texts, emails, DMs, app alerts. It's a constant fire hose of information that makes setting boundaries not just a nice idea, but a straight-up survival tactic. Then you've got the performance pressure. And those three little dots, typing, are the perfect symbol of it. It creates this real-time expectation that you're working on a reply right now, which for an anxious avoider is incredibly stressful. And let's talk about read receipts. They just pour gasoline on the fire because now the other person knows you've seen the message. That knowledge adds this whole other layer of social pressure and tension that just wasn't there before, making both the need for boundaries and the urge to avoid so much stronger. So what both of these slow texters have in common is this. They have mentally broken the chain. They've snapped the link between hearing that ding and feeling like they have to respond that very second. They've taken back that power. Okay, we've looked at the different profiles. We've looked at the environment. But all of this has been building to one single massive insight. This is the one thing you absolutely have to remember the next time you're staring at your phone waiting for that reply. No, really. Let that sink in for a second. The hours of silence, the read receipt with no reply, that delayed response, it's almost never, ever a personal attack or message directed at you. It's not a grade on your friendship. It's not a judgment on how important your message is. It's just a little window into their internal world. You're just seeing the result of their personal strategy for managing their own time, their own focus, or their own anxiety. So, what can you actually do about it? It's pretty simple, actually. It's a two-step process. First, try to understand which type of person they might be. And second, just be a little more clear about your own expectations. Seriously, this tiny little shift is a total game changer. Instead of getting frustrated, just add a little phrase like, hey, no rush on this, or get back to me whenever you're free. That one sentence respects the time protector's boundaries and takes all the pressure off the anxious avoider. You're way more likely to get a thoughtful response, and they get to manage their world in the way that works for them. And that really brings us to the final big question. A question for you. After hearing all of this, where do you see yourself in the story? Are you the instant responder, the time protector, or maybe the anxious avoider? Figuring out your own style is the best first step to understanding everybody else's.